All right, so we're going to go back. We're going to continue to work on the 5 count. I wanted to focus a little bit on some of the basic mechanics of the 5 count, some of the foot movement, and some of the hip movement of the kicks. So we came up with a few basic warm-ups to kind of some good stuff to do so that you can do it at home. You can do it by yourself. And that can kind of build a good foundation. All right, so Nancy?
Oh, yeah, so we thought we would just do some very, very, very basic foundations of footwork and get used to moving or shifting your weight and staying light on your feet. So, making sure our stance is good. You know, legs a little wider apart than you would probably normally stand. Knees bent, and try balancing on your toes. Like your heels, weight should not be on your heels. So you always want to stay light and be able to shift sort of forward and backward really easily. So you're not your weight's not planted. Okay, so legs not on railroad tracks, not close together, and
on railroad tracks.
Well, you are on. Sorry.
On railroad. Not in a straight line.
Not on a straight line. You're staggered, but on tracks. You can edit that out. All right, so we're just gonna practice again shifting the weight. We're gonna shift from the back leg forward to take a step forward. When I say step, we're not taking a step. We're moving forward, still staying light. So we're gonna push off with the back leg to move forward, and we can do that a few times. And again, and then you can move back by pushing off with your front leg to move backward. So it's always the sort of opposite leg will be your power for whichever direction you're gonna move. So keep your hips sort of squared, your weight centered over, knees bent, and go ahead and do a few of those forward and back.
All right, so again, so stop, freeze real quick. No, freeze. Do it again. All right, freeze, don't move. Okay, all right, look at your feet, all right?
Yeah.
So you see how they're like about this far apart.
So you need
Right.
to keep them down like that.
Right, so bring it back that way, right? Which gives you good stability this way.
Yeah.
Right, because if I do this, you're gonna
that's
step
true.
off, right?
That's your
Right, so
point.
that's the idea of like, you wanna stay balanced, right? So the idea is kind of my hips are kind of open,
Right.
and then I can move much better in multiple directions. This way I can move forward and backwards, right? And then we're gonna add right and left, right? Front and back, right? Let's start moving side to side, right? Again, everything is backwards, right? So to move in this direction, to go left, you push with your right foot, the opposite foot, step, right? So I'm pushing off with my right, which causes me to have to move my left, right? Push. To go right, I push with my left foot. Push. Right? Yeah, I know. It's weird. It's counterintuitive. If you use the opposite foot, yeah, exactly. You got it. Push. Right? All right. So now, let's put it all together. Okay? Bounce. Yeah. So think about. So this is called a triangle step because basically you're thinking about there's a triangle in front of you. Okay? So here's the point of the triangle. There's the base of the triangle, right? So that's where you're going. So when you want to move to the right, you use your right foot and you're gonna step out and kind of at a 30, 45 degree angle toward this way, right? As you step, again, remember pushing off with the back foot, right? As you're pushing off with your back foot, you're turning your hips and your shoulders. That push is turning your whole body. So you bring your opposite shoulder, from stepping with my right foot, my left shoulder is forward, okay? And you're stepping that way. So you can go from behind, right? So if I'm stepping with my right foot, my left shoulder is forward, right?
That's for left blow?
Yeah, exactly. And then when I step to my left, right, my left foot comes forward, my right shoulder comes forward. All right? That. Reverse, right? All right, the last drill we have was, because we want to focus on the kicking, is that front kick, which a lot of people have a lot of trouble with, right? when you're doing, part of our 5 count is when you're doing the front kick, right? Don't think of it as a snap kick, think of it as a turn, right?
Snap kick doesn't mean anything to people.
All right, so don't snap your foot. It's not a foot kick. Again, just like we were moving, everything is about turning your hips and turning your shoulders, right? So, so when I'm kicking her, right, what I want to think about with that front kick is I want to think about getting my hips turned over and kicking. I'll just leave it there. Here, right? So I don't want to snap it. I'm not trying to tag her, right? I want to move her basically foot, right? So that's what I'm trying to do.
So you're using the whole leg.
I'm using the whole leg. So as we're starting out, go slow, no power, you know, like Mike says, right? Don't go hard, don't go fast, right? And as you're taking it, make sure that hip's turning over and you're actually keeping your legs somewhat extended, right? So the power is not coming from this part, right? The power is coming from this part, right? This turn is what's giving you power, not the speed at which you are snapping your knee, okay? So as for a front kick, right? Come over and try to put your weight into the kick, right? So my whole hip
I
is
mean,
coming
it's
over.
similar. I mean, it's the same idea.
It's the same
what
turn.
we were just practicing.
Exactly.
You're turning in that
What
same.
happens with the left foot?
Okay, so the left foot basically kind of pivots around on the toe. Okay.
Which is again the importance
Yeah,
of
which
like
is why you
being
can't
on
be
your
really, really flat,
balls in
right?
your- yeah.
So here, this kind of comes through, and I'm kind of on my toe, turned a little bit to the side. Right, so, ooh,
Maybe I'll do one too. Just sometimes I think it's helpful to see other people do it, and then we can even sort of go
Yeah.
through a. So, oh, did you say this?
no,
Down
no,
out?
we don't need to do that.
Oh, because we're standing.
Yeah. Good. Good.
So like my leg is kind of a almost solid,
Right.
you know, piece of meat that I'm throwing at Dave. And yeah, I'm hitting him like with this top part of my foot, and my ankle is not. Like we keep our wrists, we don't bend or break our wrists for the sticks. Same with, basically the same with the ankle for this. We're not, you know, kind of flicking. There was no, which is subtle. It's like the difference between that and that.
Yeah.
But they
Alright.
came from different places.
So why don't you try it and do it, because I want to give you drills you can do at home. Let's try it on the tire. But this can be anything in your house, okay?
The difference is between a snap kick and the kind of kick Dave and Nancy you're talking about. So you heard them talking about, you know, hip rotation for the triangle movements, for I guess moving back and forth. If you're going to do a snap kick, what you're basically going to do is you're going to close the hip off, and then you're going to snap your foot to get that kick. And the kick that they're describing, the hip rotation is the kick, right?
Yeah.
The hip rotation is the kick, as opposed to rotating the hip and then kicking. So that's the main difference between a snap kick and what you're trying to do.
All right, so let's put it all together and put it into what we were doing before with the 5 count, right? So a little bit of how you would actually use the 5 count, right? So one of the most typical attacks, you know, you're going to see on the street is your big overhand right? So I mean, this is usually like someone who's not really trained, but they just want to hit you as hard as they can, right? Yeah. So if they're going to hit you as hard as they can, what are they going to do, right? So they're going to do a big overhand right? So they're going to do come up, wind up, bam, power. That's basically what's going to happen. Like someone gets mad, and what are they going to do? You see movies or, you know, on street. Wind up and just throw, right? Okay, so let's incorporate the 5 count. How would the 5 count deal with this, right? So when she's ready to throw, right? 5 count. Kick first, right? Kick the leg, right? So go ahead. Kick, cross, hook, cross, and then if she backs up a little bit, finish with the kick. And that's like, you know, that's application of the 5 count, one application of the 5 count.
Right. And the 5 count is you guys were doing last week.
Last week.
Right.
Yeah, okay. So again, let's start off with that, right? So let's start off with your partner gives you a nice, so this really works, they gotta be telegraphing this, right? So you're gonna like kind of wind up and like, you know, get real mad and throw that left. I mean, throw that right.
This
right?
is comedy.
Yeah,
this
this is
is a comedy JKD.
Bang, cross, hook, cross, back, kick. So both front leg kicks, okay? All right, let's give it a
And
try.
we don't really need.
You don't even need-
We don't need gloves. we'll go.
All right, let's give it a try.
We'll go like gloves.